Hey everybody, it's Flyin Ryan here with a review of the Xinlin Shiye. I have no idea how to say that. X118 FPV. And this is a 5.8 gigahertz FPV quadcopter with a really nice big antenna on it there, so pretty neat. The transmitter is what really did it for me. This is a pretty cool transmitter with just a ton of features, and then built-in screen and sunshade on it. So pretty cool there, but we'll get back to that in a little bit later. Um, it does come with some prop guards, and then also there's a screwdriver, but just two extra props. You don't get a full set of props. There's just two spare props there, so a little bit interesting that you don't get a full set. Let's see, we do have a USB charger, and the battery is a single cell LiPo 850 milliamp hours, so a pretty big battery. That takes about an hour and a half to charge. If you have everything on here, the landing legs, camera, prop guards, you get about 5-minute and 15-second flights. But if you have everything off, I'm talking even the camera and the landing legs, because you do have these motor mount legs, so if you take the camera off, you don't need these legs. So if you have everything off where you're just landing on those, then you get about 7-minute flights. So anywhere from 5 minutes and 15 seconds to 7 minutes, depending on how much extra stuff you have on it. And the LVC warning is late, like it pretty much happens as the quad's falling out of the sky. So not really much warning there. But if you're flying this FPV, you're not going to be looking at it for an LVC warning anyway. Let's see. Is there other details that I wanted to talk about? No, so okay, let's get to the transmitter. So you'll just notice, there's buttons everywhere on this thing. We got shoulder buttons, we got buttons up here, we got buttons all down here. Open the screen up. So let's see, where to start. Right bumper 3 is flyback, so that's like a return mode where it just uses headless mode. Left bumper 3 is headless mode. Let's see, the left bumpers here, these left buttons, just kind of change the LEDs. I think, or maybe it turns them on and off. The LEDs are really weird. It has LEDs in the arms here, but they're like constantly blinking. Let's see, did I forget? I think like one, like they blink between like red and blue, and the other blinks between like red and green or something. I don't know. They're always blinking, and it's really weird and confusing. But again, if you're flying FPV, you're not looking at the LEDs on it anyway, so maybe that's meant to be a warning for people that you may be flying into or something. Not really sure what the idea is there. Anyway, back to the transmitter. So right bumper 2 is our changing rate, so that's this top one here. We've got 3 different rates and only one yaw rate, but it's okay. It's not too fast, not too slow. It's decent. Then right bumper 1 just does an auto flip. You don't get to pick your own flips, but if you're on high rates, the third rate, it does automatic flips. So you can't really fly in the third rate, especially if you're doing FPV, because you're going to end up doing accidental flips all the time. So really there's just 2 rates that you can actually fly in. Let's see, what else is there to say? So all these buttons have to do with controlling the FPV stuff, all the display on the monitor, and there's a lot of stuff you can do. Like you can zoom the video, you can rotate it upside down for some reason. And this thing, actually, you'll see a speaker here, it transmits sound. So that's the first I've seen in FPV where you get the sound from the camera. But obviously, if you're flying, it's not like you're going to be able to fly up to somebody and spy on their conversation or something like that. All you hear is a bunch of prop and motor noise. So at first I was thinking, what's the point of that? It seems entirely pointless. But once I actually flew it that way, I realized that, being able to hear your throttle change actually helps, because you're used to that feedback when you're flying. So when you're flying FPV and you can hear your throttle, it really helps give a sense of, you know, what exactly you're doing, if you're climbing, if it's, you know, given the punch that you want. And so it actually did seem to help with FPV flying. It just, I don't know, in your brain it just feels a little more natural because you're used to hearing that response. So it actually did seem to have some sort of purpose, even though all you hear is motor and prop noise. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, you can recalibrate it by holding both sticks down left and both sticks down right. I guess one's probably the headless mode and one's the accelerometer. I'm not sure which is which. Let's see. Anything else to say about this one? Did I say charge time was an hour and a half? I forget if I said that or not. Yeah, that looks like that's about it. So I'll show more of the, display here, and there is a little SD card on the side here. I guess I can say that that's a 4 GB SD card. I don't think the camera, I don't remember, what is the camera on this one? I think it's just a standard definition camera. I don't recall now. Let's see, does it say? Usually if it doesn't like point out that it's HD, it's probably not. Yeah, I think this is probably just a standard definition camera because it is actually meant for FPV flying, not filming. So I don't think your video quality is going to be great, but you do have the option to record it to the memory card if you want to. There is also, it looks like there's a port on here, but I don't think it actually takes a card. Oh wait, no, here it does say HD camera. Yeah, I think that's just an empty slot on there. I don't think that's actually accepting the card. I think the only way you can record it is to the from the monitor here. So yeah, I'll have to do a little bit more testing on that before I do the flight video, and so I can make sure that I get everything recorded right. But we'll go check that out right now. Alright, this is the flight review of the X118 5.8 GHz FPV quad. This is a weird thing. I don't know if it shows up here in the light on camera, but LEDs kind of blink a bunch of different colors, kind of constantly doing a light show. And then we've got the FPV monitor here built in the transmitter, which I quite like. Pretty nice transmitter, nice beefy antennas on it. The unique thing though is that this actually transmits audio. So I'll turn up this, and of course something makes a bunch of noise right when I'm talking about sound. But there you can kind of hear it. It actually transmits the audio through the transmitter, which I think is probably good for like hearing, like getting your throttle feedback while you're flying. Seems to be helpful. Let me turn that down a little bit. I mean, it's not like you're going to be able to fly up and like listen to somebody's conversation with this thing or something. So it's got to just be to like get that sort of the feedback of hearing how hard the motors are working, and it kind of helps you fly it. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll just fly for a bit. That's full pitch on low rates there. This thing is a little bit underpowered. Go on the medium rates, and it does auto flips on high rates, so I'll stick on medium rates here. So it's got a little bit more authority there in medium rates. I think, yeah, you can do automatic forward flips, but if you want to do your own flips, you've got to fly in high rates, and then anytime you move the stick in a full direction, it'll flip. So I'm not a big fan of that, especially for an FPV quad. That's pretty strange. So anyway, I think that's showed off the flying, so we'll go ahead and look at the screen here, and I'm not sure if that's going to show up on camera at all, and plus it's hard to get my camera in past that sun visor. But it's not too bright, so even I'm having trouble seeing it here in the light. Looks like I've got quite a bit of noise coming through. I have no idea if my camera's picking that up or not. But it is, I mean, it is working. It is 5.8 gigahertz, so it's, you know, nice, fast, real-time transmission. Let's go ahead and hit the record button and do some filming. And it films to a memory card here on the transmitter, so I gotta imagine it's just recording the screen, so all the noise that I'm seeing is going to come through in my recorded footage, I'm expecting. Go ahead and, yeah, I mean, even up here close, I'm still seeing a decent amount of noise coming through. Also looks like the picture is probably a 4:3 aspect ratio, and it's being stretched for the widescreen display. So it looks like everything's a little bit stretched out. So I'm not sure how that's going to come across in recording. I don't know if it records in 4:3 or stretched out. Obviously you can fix that with a video editor if you wanted to as well. No idea if this is coming through on my camera or not. Tried to show the screen there for a bit. Full throttle, full throttle. Yeah, it's a little underpowered, a little heavy. Let's go ahead and turn this sound down now. That's getting a little annoying after a while. And I guess we can stop recording now. Call that good. Whoa. Just give her a little bit more of a spin. So, I mean, it doesn't fly too bad. It's just a little heavy and underpowered, so it can have some trouble trying to recover from some things, but otherwise, it flies pretty nice and smooth. A little weird that it does 100% flips on high rates, being an FPV quad. You're trying to fly FPV and the thing's just all of a sudden flipping on you. And the camera isn't really good enough quality, and it doesn't record to the camera itself, so it doesn't seem like they have, you know, the intention of it being an aerial video platform. Seems like they want this to actually be an FPV flyer. So a little bit weird design decisions. Not a bad flyer though, just a little weak. Alright, well I think that was really all there is to show with this one, so we'll bring her down for a landing. And there we go. Pretty cool transmitter on this one. I think that's the coolest part of this thing. It's got a really neat transmitter, a bunch of features, buttons all over the place. You can turn the LEDs on and off. You can like rotate the video screen and zoom in and do a bunch of stuff with that too. So, pretty cool. Alright, we'll check the video description for a price and purchase link. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.